Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with works I didn't get until I heard the version by... Yeah. So what's the work I didn't get? Well, the work I didn't get is Beethoven's Fourth Piano Concerto. And I need to explain why I didn't get it, or at least I have to surmise why I didn't get it. First of all, I grew up with one Beethoven piano concerto, The Emperor, the one with the title, and the one with the really imposing opening. Pow! Glittery piano scales. It was Arthur Rubinstein and Joseph Cripps. It was just amazing. What a gorgeous thing it was. Heroic and exciting, and the title meant nothing, but I didn't care. It had one. And oh, yeah. That was my idea of what a Beethoven piano concerto ought to be. Then at one point in my life, I heard the fourth, and it went bing, 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 bing. And nothing seemed to happen after that. It just went on and on and on, pattering along. And the second movement, like, where was the rest of the orchestra? It was just strings. Where did everybody go? Finally, it woke up a little bit in the finale, but by then, who cared, you know? I mean, it had trumpets and drums. Why didn't he use them at the beginning like he did in The Emperor? And I had a friend. In high school who was a terrific pianist and who I admired very much. He was very, very talented. And he played Beethoven piano sonatas very, very well. And he really disliked the Fourth Piano Concerto. As you know, I had a concert. I was looking at concerts. We would go to concerts sometimes, and he had connections up at Tanglewood and all this stuff. And I said to myself, you know, there was a concert with the Beethoven Fourth Piano Concerto. So I said to him, why don't we go see that? He's like, nah, I don't know. He said, I've seen the piano part. It's nothing but arpeggios, he said. Naught but arpeggios. And so, you know, I had a prejudice against the work. I really did. But then, you know, as I started to acquire, you know, a bigger sense of what, you know, classical music was, you know, I listened to them and you know, I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was all that interesting. But then I read the analysis by Tovey, by Donald Francis Tovey. And as so often with Tovey, if you haven't read him, you should. He had his faults, but boy, he was a sharpie when it came to musical form and all that. But one of the things he pointed out, may have been about another work, or may have been about this work, I don't know, is that, well, two things. Number one is that the Fourth Piano Concerto is really Beethoven's homage to Mozart. It is his most perfectly Mozartian piece, not in the sense that it sounds like Mozart, but in the sense that it really understood what Mozart was doing in his piano concertos, which I didn't know very well at the time and also didn't like very much because they had very uninteresting piano parts, and I was learning how to play the piano then, and, you know, well, there you go. So there was that. I had to digest Mozart better, number one. But number two, he said, all of its strokes of genius are quiet. Well, that was a revelation to me, especially as a, you know, I mean, I wasn't playing percussion back in those days. I was, like I said, I was playing piano. I was trying to learn the clarinet. I was doing all this other stuff. But the idea that massive, important, major strokes of genius could be quiet, very quiet, wonderfully quiet. I mean, who ever thought of that? You know, we tend to think, and Beethoven's Emperor Concerto encourages us to think that things are going to happen on a grand scale and that big moments will be loud. They will be climaxes in volume rather than in other quantities. And there are wonderful other quantities. For example, harmony. I mean, harmony is a wonderful musical quantity. And climaxes in harmony can be very hushed. And wonderfully so. And there are a lot of them in this concerto. The very opening. Dum bum 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 ba da 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 ya dum ba da 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 da. And then the strings come in a different key. Yeah. Oh my God, what a moment. If you pay attention to it, right? I mean, if you listen to it. And the performance that really turned me on to the Fourth Piano Concerto was this one. Claudio Arrau with Colin Davis and the Staatskapelle Dresden. It's a very serious performance. It's weighty. It's not namby-pamby. It's not tinkly. It tells us that this is important stuff, and it tells us that it's important stuff in its softest moments. Because Arrau was a pianist, pardon me, with an incredibly burnished, deep, rich piano sonority. For me, to make this piece work, I needed a pianist who was really a chord guy. I mean, who really understood touch and tone, and who could, through differentiation of tone and the sonority that he projected, make me listen to these softest parts, give them body and texture and mystery and meaning. And as soon as I learned to shut up my brain here, quiet things down, all of a sudden the piece spoke to me. It spoke to me marvelously. Now I like it much better than the Emperor Concerto. So there you go, because I think it challenges the pianist more in terms of things, in those qualities, timbre and tone and sophistication in that second movement, the dialogue between the strings of the piano. All I could think of when I first heard it was the strings are just strings, who cares? And the piano's not doing anything, it's just playing a bunch of chords, who cares? But then you think about the fact that it is indeed an interchange, a dialogue, and these are characters, and they're speaking, and they have personality, and oh my God, what a universe opens up in this piece of music. And the finale, which is perfect, which saves the trumpets and timpani just for that movement, to make a satisfying climax and to provide the rhythmic energy that the piece might otherwise lack. Well, hey, where have you been all my life? That's what I thought at that point. And it's been wonderful ever since. Then I heard even more of it. Oh my God. And then, there are other pianists who are equally sensitive to what this concerto offers. But, you have to have a certain harmonic sense. It helps to know your Mozart, at least it did me. And we have to learn to be more musical than merely following the rise and level of volume in the piece. So there you have it. It's a work I didn't know until, yes, Finster, come on, behave. Thank you. I'll let you out in a minute. That's Finster. Anyway, it just hit me when it hit me. But Claudio Arrau, Colin Davis, two fabulous Beethoven conductors, the Staatskapelle Dresden, an amazing orchestra. It really helps when you have top-notch everything. It just goes to show performances do matter where they can. And the important thing, as always in this series, is keep on listening, because you never know when it's going to hit you. So thank you very much for joining me, friends. Take care.